Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Fix Your BS, where BS stands for belief systems. This is the podcast where we dive deep into the belief systems that shape our lives and hold us back from achieving our dreams. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Pursley, also known as Dr. G, and in each episode, we'll explore powerful conversations with successful individuals in business, money, relationships, health, and of course, personal growth. Join us as we unpack their journeys, challenge limiting beliefs, and discover practical insights to help you build your dream life on your terms. It's time to fix your BS and unlock your full potential. Today, we have a guest with us that is in real estate. Everybody loves real estate. It is Joao. Joao, thanks for being here. He is a real estate investor, general contractor who is licensed in North and South Carolina and soon to be in Georgia as well. He specializes in multifamily investments, property renovations, and construction projects. And we're going to talk a little bit about how he started and where he is now compared to where he was. Joao, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Dr. G.
Hey, I'm
very happy to
so excited that we got to finally connect. No, it's been a couple weeks, but that's part of what we talk about a lot is perseverance. It's making it happen no matter what. Thanks everybody too for dealing with my voice today. I sang a little bit too much karaoke with my family this weekend. If you don't know me, I love some karaoke. So Joao, tell me a little bit about yourself, man. Tell me a little bit about where you started. We had a conversation before we got on, and you started to tell me about some cliche things like, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And I really don't think that's cliche because, there's so many people that will look at you and see that you're successful. This happens to me a lot. Oh, you're successful. It must have been easy. Or they just assume, they don't realize all the steps it took to get there. And so talk to me a little bit about that, the pre-Joao and then the more successful Joao, and where's Joao headed?
So starting off, when I got out of high school, I wasn't the best student at all. I didn't study hard. I didn't meet up. I was a straight C plus, B minus student. Not that I didn't care. It never reached out to me. I never wanted to do it. I didn't want these AP classes. When I had the option to get a free period to go home early, I took that right away. So it wasn't just something I didn't want to do. And then when I started, I wanted to make money.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to stop you there for a second. I hate to interrupt you, but you're literally speaking to most people. Like most people feel that way, and their perspective is like, well, that must mean I'm not worthy, or that I'm not smart, or that I'm not going to be successful. So how did you not fall into that trap?
So pretty much it all came down to, what did I want in life? And I didn't want to learn biology or math. Obviously you need those things, but those weren't going to be my career professions. And even going to college, I dropped out the first year. I didn't go to college. I didn't see what I wanted to do there. I wanted to work, make some money now, and just honestly jump from job to job. Worked at Sports Authority, Costco, just many different jobs because one was paying higher than the other. I was like, oh, I'll go here. Stayed there for a year or two, hoping to get raises and, working extra hours. Eventually went into pharmacy, which is also good money. And then worked my way up that ladder, just just keep my nose down, be the hardest worker, always volunteer to do extra work. And eventually they'll see what I can do and I can move up, which I did. I did move up in the ranks, which moved up in salary. But even that, working sometimes off the clock, I'm sure a lot of people do that today, off the clock, just to be that team player, that go-to person. And, even though it's not part of my job, yeah, let me help with that. Let me see what I can do. It does look good for the upper management, but it wasn't the best for me. It took away more time I had to be with my family, my friends, to help this company out. And then it didn't really help me get to my end goal. I think there was a quote, I forget who said it. You're never going to make as much as your boss. And it eventually resonated with me when I can take maybe one vacation a year, but just me wasn't much at all. My parents worked harder than I have with less than I have, and even they couldn't get too much. And then things just had to change. No matter how many extra hours I picked up, no matter what side jobs I did to get more money, eventually my body was tired. I needed to sleep. I needed to do things. I was missing out on events and things. And it was just frustrating I can either work to the bone and be completely tired and not be able to use my money, or keep trying, and hopefully when something opens up, I'll get it. And then even then, more work. My pivotal moment was my friend who's my accountant today pretty much told me, you need to read this book. It's called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And she gave it to me. I read it once, didn't really click. So I read it a second time, maybe a year later, and that's when it started making sense to me of, okay, well, that real estate makes sense where, you buy a property today, $100,000, let's just say. Next year it's going to be worth like 110, 115. Naturally, it's going to go up if it's in a good area, especially if it's a growing area, it's going to keep going up. So read the book again and just started diving into it. And I had some money saved up, not a lot. It was like maybe 10 grand saved up. Another option was my 401k, but I didn't touch that.
Let's go
But
back to the Rich Dad Poor Dad real quick, because that's a very common book to get started in. I read that and took a bunch of courses with him probably 15 years ago. What was your biggest takeaway out of Rich Dad Poor Dad? What do you? And first of all, why didn't you get anything out of it the first time? And then why did you come back and read it and get something out of it the second time? Do you think?
I think the first time I read it was just to kind of be able to say, yes, I read it and I've got nothing out of it. Little things hit, but nothing concrete. So just wanted to read it, get it done. And so, yeah, I read it. Doesn't help me out. And then it just always back of my mind, it bothered me a little bit. And I reread it again, piece by piece, started highlighting areas. And then that just started a rabbit hole of YouTube and forums and asking questions and doing things like that. That opened up so much. Because one thing I learned, not only in real estate, but just in almost anything, it's not what it's meant out to be on TV or movies and things like that. And what I mean by that is I never grew up with money. So I had the misconception of, hey, someone that has a lot of money is going to look down on me, not even talk to me, not even give me the time of day.
You know, it's
It's
actually the opposite. I found
it's the complete opposite.
the most
Like they
successful
will
people are
sit
the ones
down.
that will, sit down and talk to you and guide you.
Right. They'll spend hours sitting with you, going to a brewery, going to a restaurant, getting a drink, or like, because they know what it's like. I mean, it was just mind boggling. So I've been able to elevate where I am by so much because things that I haven't run into yet that I might, they have run into it. And they're giving me their blueprint of what to avoid, how to look out for it. So I don't make those same mistakes. They're giving you everything they've learned. It's just amazing.
And isn't it amazing that you can get, for most people in any industry, pretty much, you can get a $20 or $30 book and pick up somebody's wisdom that they've been living, that of what they've lived and the things they've learned over their entire life. And yet very few people do that. I commend you, first of all, for reading a book and then coming back to it, because I recommend that to people a lot. But secondly, there's people that I know that really read books just to say how many books they've read. I read 50 books this year, but it's not what you read, how many books you read. It's what you get out of those books and implement into your life. So what are some things you got out of Rich Dad Poor Dad that you implement into your life? And then are there any other books that have affected you positively?
Yeah. So what I got at Rich Dad Poor Dad was obviously investing in real estate and growing that portfolio and doing things an easier way versus a faster way. Just don't cut corners, but also look into markets that are growing. So, when I first started, I bought a property in Anderson, South Carolina, just because it was a good price. It was a multifamily. It was easier for me. It was only like 40 minutes away from where I lived. So my biggest thing was, okay, I can go down there, do the work myself, and knock all these things out, which was good because I needed that to kind of get more hands on. And to backtrack a little bit, the only reason I knew construction things like that was I'm first generation in this country. So I remember my dad when we had a house in New Jersey, he bought me that Home Depot book, the 1, 2, 3 Home Depot book. So pretty much, sorry, he bought me that 1, 2, 3 Home Depot book that gives you the most basic way to make repairs and things in your house and things like that. And he's like, I'm not paying someone to do it. You better do this and learn. And I was like, all right, let's see what we can do. And, they never came out great like they do today, but it was a learning step. And it's just crazy the things you can learn just by even that. And nowadays, people have YouTube. Everything's on there. Almost everything you want to do is on there. There's people to ask questions, so things I can learn. So Rich Dad Poor Dad just showed if you really want it, there's always a way.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, especially today. Today is information age. There's information out there, which is positive and negative. The positive thing is there's information out there that you can get on pretty much any topic. The negative is there's so much information and it's very easy to put information out there. So you have to consider the source of the information. You have to really vet who you're listening to and make sure they have the track record of winning. So something you mentioned about like mentorship and learning from people that have been there, is mentorship and using coaching or those type of things. Is that something you recommend and still use today?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, the mentorship has been a huge game changer. It took me quite a while to save up like $10,000, so I was beyond scared. First of all, to have that much in my account was being a 9 to 5 worker and doing so many hours, paying all your bills, everything, just 10,000 extra was huge for me. So it was scary to risk all that because it is a risk. So had I not taken that leap and taken that chance, I probably wouldn't have what I have today.
So
But reading Rich Dad Poor Dad,
did you go into the 3 bucket technique, or did you just go straight into I'm going to invest everything I have saved?
I just pretty much said if I have to sleep on the floor and do this, I'm gonna fail. No one's gonna fail but me. So I went all in and just said, all right, I want freedom, I want wealth, I want to be able to do this and say I didn't give myself that safety net. Like I
Mm.
went in all in. So did that. It took me about 6 months doing my own renovations, my own weekends and after hours to fix it up, and just have it make profit. Like, hey, I own this property now. I'm making 200-300 bucks a month. Nothing crazy, but it's coming back little by little. And to your question about the mentorship, I was an introvert at first. Didn't really go to events. Didn't really talk to many people. But one of my buddies that I work with, he said, "Hey, check out this guy on Facebook. His name was Nate Barger." And I looked at his YouTube, looked at all that stuff. Eventually, he had a Black Friday sale for his course. Bought it, and then he had an event for free. You go to the event for free. So I went there, and that was probably the biggest game changer ever. It was a room of like 500 or 600 people. I sat in the very back corner, didn't want to get in the middle. But everyone you spoke to was an entrepreneur one way or another, self storage or mobile home parks or real estate. So everyone, not just like your close friends or your family who may or may not invest, everyone there wanted that life, that wanted out, wanted to try different ways, do different ventures, and it was just completely mind changing. Like these,
Well, let me
they're
ask,
telling stories.
let me ask you something about that, because I totally agree. You have to get around people that are doing better than you in the thing that you're trying to do. What about listening to your friends, your family, people around you? Did they try to talk you out of it? Did they tell you you're
Oh my god,
crazy? I mean, tell me some stories about that.
oh my god, like there's two kinds of people there. So some friends that would listen to what you're doing and say, it sounds good, hopefully it works out. It's not, but they wouldn't do it. Then there's mostly family or really close friends that are like them that say, hey, it's risky. You already have a 9 to 5 job. It's guaranteed. Why would you want to risk that? Or I know someone that did this. Cousin's friend's friend did it and they lost all this. And there's always going to be a bad way to do it. I mean, the way you see it is working a regular job is hard. You're stuck in that hamster wheel. You're not going anywhere. Working for yourself or doing things like that is also hard. We just got to pick the hard we want.
Mm.
I mean, I was always brought up to not like commission based jobs. Like, oh, it's not guaranteed. It can be months without anything. And nowadays it's like, okay, well, with a commission based job, the harder you work, the more you can make. It's all on you.
Yeah, it's all about skill too, and belief in your own
Right.
skills. Like
Exactly.
I
So
used to think the same way, but that's really what we're conditioned to think. We're conditioned to
yeah,
think, take it slow, take it safe, get your hourly pay. But you don't understand, on the flip side of that is the person that owns the business that's giving you the hourly pay. They're taking all the risk, but they're also getting all the reward.
yeah,
So, the more risk you take, the more potential reward. Now you got to figure out where you live in that, what's comfortable to you. How risk adverse are you as opposed to non-risk adverse? So, also, I think you did something really, really awesome there, which is you understood who was giving you advice. You looked at them and were like, well, that's just because it's not for you doesn't mean it's not right for me. And
right.
everybody should pay attention to that. That's what we talked about earlier. Consider the source of the information. So what you've done some real estate investing, obviously, and you've done some brokerages and or broker deals and stuff, and you've done some other things. But what is your ultimate overall goal in the real estate game? Because you mentioned something earlier. You literally mentioned wealth and freedom in the same sentence. And I think people miss messed that up and you got it perfect. So many people just try to make money for the sake of money, but it doesn't mean anything if it doesn't buy you freedom. But what is your ultimate goal? What is the overall goal in the real estate game for you?
So it's changed so many times because the more you want things, the more you push towards them. I mean, one of the biggest things for me was I despised having to request time off. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I want to go on vacation with my family. Is it okay if I can be off these days? Well, no, John's off on those days. Okay, well, let me talk to the whole family, see if we can move it. That just always bugged me. So the time freedom, spend with my family, my friends, be able to see the world and visit the world. I mean, real estate has opened so many doors. And if you look at my Instagram, I was able to take my father on a 5-day hike through Machu Picchu. We went to Europe, went to Greece, Italy, Rome. We're planning on going to Hawaii, Ireland, things that were not attainable growing up. It was just not in our wheelhouse. Like we're from Jersey, so maybe every 3-4 years we might be able to go to Florida for Disney World for a few days. That was more realistic for us. So what I'm being able to do today was not
Mm-hmm.
a realistic goal at all, and I just wanted to change that. I mean, I wanted see my parents get older, yes, but visit the world with them, see experiences that we can't see in our backyard. I mean, thank God I'm in a way better spot now than I ever thought I could have been. I mean, I've got a boat, I've got some cars, I got properties. The reason I say my goals have changed is because when I first started real estate, the goal was 10 doors. Then I got that. Then it was 25 doors. To make it a little harder, I got that. Then going to these events, I met other people and partnered with people. Then we bought a building, a 12-unit building. And then the same group of people were like, okay, let's do it again. We bought a 54 unit. So now we're at 90-ish doors. And it's just surreal. Like,
I think
and
you
we
should
got
always do that though, man. Like that's life. If you're not growing, you're dying,
making that goal bigger and bigger and just
yeah.
keep going.
I got a quick story for you if you want to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a similar background. At one point, I was doing a few $100,000 a year in my business, and I was like, man, there's got to be more. I knew I wanted more freedom. I wanted to be able to get to that next step. I wanted to take a vacation and not have to worry about, is the office going to continue running and producing, because it wasn't. I was the one producing. So I went to an event, and I'll never forget having this conversation. And I bought the most expensive ticket because I wanted access to the most expensive people, the crazy people that could afford the biggest ticket, And so when you're talking about a $20,000 ticket, there's some, big dogs there.
Oh my
Here's what I
God.
learned. I was talking with a bunch of different people, but this one guy in particular, I said, oh, what do you do? And he said, I'm in real estate. I do investments. And I'm like, oh, okay. How much do you have? How much is in your real estate portfolio? He said about 2 billion. And I went, to what? And he said 2 billion. And the way he said it was so calm and so confident. It was like no big deal. And he said, oh, what do you do? And I was like, I have a, small chiropractic clinic. We do $300,000 per year. He goes, oh, awesome. Are you investing in real estate? Like it didn't faze him that I was doing 300,000 a year and he had 2 billion in holdings. Secondly, he treated me like a human being, and and I learned some things from him that day. And so before that, I used to think that people that were successful, like you said, wouldn't give information and they would look down on you. In reality, this guy wanted to lift me up. And what I found for the most part is people that are extra successful in any industry want to lift you up. They want you to be up there with them. They want you to win. The only people trying to pull you down are people that are less successful than you, because they don't want to have to put themselves into a position to become successful. Because if you're held down, then they can be like, oh, see, we're on the same page. And so if somebody's trying to pull me down, I realize real quick, they are not successful. They're just not. So fun story, but it matched a lot of what you were saying. Literally, it was a great learning experience for me.
That's crazy. I mean, all the other investors I meet that are super higher than me, I mean, they'll give you like a spreadsheet. Here's where I order from. Here's a SKU number. Here's the people you want to look for. Like they want you to grow.
Yeah.
They want you to be successful. So
and here's what's interesting. There are people right now that look at you and want to learn how to get to where you are. See, we forget. We always think we're the underdog. There's people right now. There's hundreds of thousands of people out there that want to learn and be just like where you are, which is why I started doing consulting. because I didn't realize it as I was pulling myself out and building my clinic. And now we have businesses that are doing multiple seven figures, which I never thought I would ever see that. I mean, it's beyond my wildest dreams. But when I was happening, other people started going, "Hey man, what are you doing? How are you doing that? How did you go on that trip and shut your clinic down for a week?" I'm like, I didn't shut my clinic down. The other people in the clinic were running it. I didn't have to be there. They're like, how does that work? So I started doing consulting. But that was at that point that I realized, wow, there's things that I know that are valuable for other people, and I should probably teach them that. Now I charge for it. Why do I charge? Well, because if people don't pay for it, it's not valuable to them. That's the funny part. I can give you all the free information all day long. People won't, if they don't pay for it, it's not valuable to them. So what's some things that you could teach right now to people that might be listening to this that you're like, I'd like to get into real estate, or maybe I'm starting into real estate and I'd like to be where Joao is. What would you say? What steps would they take in order to get to where you are? What, from a beginner and intermediate level?
So you gotta take that leap. I mean, you gotta believe in yourself. You're not believing in me and Dr. G. You got to believe in yourself first of all.
Believe in yourself. That's a really good one.
You're the one that's gonna do it. If you really want it and you want out, you're gonna find a way to get it done. I can't tell you. Even today, I've done over 70-ish flips. I've done over 40 burrs. We're doing close to like 100 apartments. We still make mistakes, and there are some nights you just got to sit there and think like, either this is going to be bad or we're going to figure a way to work around it. Luckily, knock on wood, we're in a spot where almost everything we're into, we have a fix for it. It's going to suck, but we can fix it. And either you walk away from the problem or you go head on and fix it one way or another. It's going to suck, but you're going to get to do it. I highly recommend the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. Dr. G, what we can do, because that book has been pivotal for me, and I tell everyone about it. And when I ask them a month later, did you buy it? No. They will, but no. Is there a way we can do, like, if you get the first 5 or 10 comments that want the book, I'll send them the book. I mean, it's that pivotal for me, and I want everyone to be good.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Yeah, anybody that direct messages me or Joao talking about this podcast, we'll send you a book, absolutely. And I'll throw one in with you. I'll send one of my books as well. I'll send this book right here. And so you'll get 2 for the price of 1. All you got to do is the first 5 people. Is that what you said?
Yeah,
direct,
5 to whatever.
Yeah, 5 people is fine. The first 5 people that direct message Joao or myself, we'll send those books to you.
So yeah, I mean, read that book, ask questions. If you don't get it, email, ask questions, go to events. I mean, every state has their own, like, small business events, just networking events, real estate events. Even if you don't have anything, we all started somewhere. Just go to the event, ask questions, or say, where should I start, and meet these people, see what they do. I mean, I had a buddy who invited me to one of his events 4 months ago, 5 months ago, I forget when it was. But he called me out on my shit, on my, BS. And we're playing golf, and he's like, so what are you doing? What are your projects going on? I was like, yeah, I picked up 3 more. I'm going to do them, knock them out. And then I'm going to probably take a little rest next year. And he's like, no, you're not. I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I just need to get a little more capital, get more properties, and then be okay. He's like, I was the same way you were. You keep saying when you get more, you're going to stop. But the thing is, as you keep getting more, you're going to keep growing more. You're going to, eventually not stop till you're in your 40s. And I just stopped. We were playing golf, and I just stopped my car, and I'm thinking, he's like, I was the same way. He's like, you have to dedicate that time to your family, your loved ones, things like that. And he's every Wednesday he doesn't work. He just plays golf every Wednesday.
You can develop and build. You can develop and build whatever life you want to build. That's what I teach people. I have a personal growth program for that specific reason. But you have to, like you said, believe in yourself. You have to know what you want, know who you are, and then figure out the result that you're after. And once you have that, then you can, reverse engineer it back to where you are. You can play golf all day every Wednesday. It might take you a little bit of time to get there, but whatever your life, what you want it to look like, I wanted to be able to go on a week-long cruise with my wife whenever I wanted to.
Exactly.
Took me 5 years. Took me 5 years, but I got it,
Exactly. We all have dreams, but the difference between a dream and a goal is you're making those steps.
Yeah.
So like you said, reverse engineer. How do I get it? Okay, well, I need to make 200,000 a year. Okay, that's how many in 6 months? And then just work your way to make a plan to get it and do it and execute on it. I mean, execution is the biggest thing. So we can all want things. It's just who's actually going to pull the trigger and do it.
Yeah. And one of the things, and talk to me about your experience with this, but one of the traps that I fell into early on in my career was I was always in a hurry. I was always feeling like I needed to do more. I needed to accomplish more. I needed things to happen faster, which put me in a state of anxiety and urgency that was constant and almost on the verge of panic a lot, you know. Um, did you ever experience that? And if you did, let's talk about it. If not, we can talk about a different way.
Just dealt with it a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
almost every new project, every new venture, every first time we got a commercial building, first 100-year-old house. There's always something that can go wrong, and you just go into panic because you don't know what's going to happen, how it's going to derail the deal, what can just all the negatives about it, and you just have to sometimes just take a break. Go do what you do to relax. Watch TV, play video games, whatever, to reset your mind and come back to it with a fresh mind. No matter what, the day is going to end, the week's going to end. So just stop and just try to figure it out. Ask questions. Ask other people that have gone through it. Ask if they know someone. Watch some videos online of other people that went through it. Listen to podcasts of horror stories, things that can go bad. I mean, someone's gone through it, and if no one has, figure it out, and you'll be the first one to help others that may go through it or how to avoid it. So there's value in all of that stuff. I mean, end of the day, we've got to get through it. I mean, we get deadlines put on us from 9 to 5, and you don't have time today. So one way or another, you're going to get it done. You're going to do it tomorrow, the next day. You're going to get it done. It just depends on how you're going to do it. So
Yeah, you're either going to live to someone else's standards or you're going to create your own standards. And what I mean by that, like you just said, if you have a 9 to 5 right now, you're living to that other person's standards. Somebody, your boss, the owner, somebody else has set a standard of what's acceptable in your role. And you have to live up to that standard or you don't have a job. And it's interesting because if you do that to yourself, then you become an entrepreneur, you become a business owner. If you set your own standards and say, I'm going to live by my own set of rules, that's when you become a business owner and entrepreneur, which you can do. But why would you work harder for someone else and do something for someone else than you would for yourself? And so many people live that way.
that's the safe route. It's just guaranteed and safe. And the thing
But
is,
it's not guaranteed. But it's not guaranteed. If that company goes under, your job's gone. You're actually relying on the other person. You think I think it's a veil of safety. I don't think it's real.
Right. They think it's safe, and it's really not. I mean, if you decide you want to leave, if you can work somewhere 20 years, decide you want to go somewhere else, they'll find a replacement for you in 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Or if the company wants to make more money and start reducing positions, you'll be gone.
Yeah.
Or it's happening everywhere. Overtime.
People talk to me a lot about what I do, and we acquire companies and we do partnerships and business ventures. We do investments, and they oh my gosh, that's so risky. And I look at them just the same way when they're talking about their 9 to 5, and I'm like, you could walk in today and your job could be gone, and you have no backup plan. That's more risky to me than what I'm doing. Well, you could lose all your money. I'm like, you could too. All your money's invested in the stock market. There was a crash in the 20s. Do you have any control if there's a crash again? No. So like, I think it's all perspective. It's all just in your perspective of how you look at it. But I've learned to.
All the stuff AI is doing. I mean, Jesus, it's just enhancing so much, making things so much easier and more fluid. So
Yeah.
You pick up more skills and do more things.
AI is going to transform jobs, and people freak out. They're like, it's going to take my job. I'm like, it's just going to be like any other innovation. It's going to transform certain industries and certain jobs and positions. And all you have to do, instead of being scared of it, lean into it, learn about it, take some courses about it, just be intrigued, enough to just learn about it. Go to a conference, talk to some people. It's funny, living in fear is where most people live. And you just got to get out of that fear and start living in a life where where you are in more control, where you want to take the actions that you want to take instead of living in that fear. So,
yeah, the raises people get nowadays is not going to keep up with inflation at all. So
there you go. There you go.
The risk.
Take a risk, but learn about it. Learn about it. The only reason it feels like a risk is if you don't have control or if you don't have enough information about it. If you don't understand it, it's risky. If you don't have control, it's risky. That's the way I look at it. How do you look at it?
That's very fair. Because if I can go back in time based on what I know today, there's some properties I probably wouldn't have bought. There's some different renovations I would have done. So yeah,
I agree with that
I
totally. I look at some of the businesses and some of the partnerships and ventures we've gotten into and some of the people we've hired, and knowing what I know now, I'm like, oh, I never would have done that. That was stupid. And I say it's stupid now, but back in the day, I thought it was the right the right decision. The only way to learn though is through life, through making decisions, learning from it.
Yeah, if you meet somebody else that's looking to get into investing and whatnot, you'll tell them, hey, I've done that before. Don't do that,
Yeah,
or avoid these steps. And that's the biggest thing. You got to get out there and meet people that have done it, that have learned from it, that are going to grow from it and help you grow. So
that's awesome,
yeah,
man. Well, anything you'd like to say as far as to the listeners about where you're at and the things that you've learned, any life lessons that pop up into your head that you're like, man, people need to know this.
yeah. So something to learn. No one's gonna save you. I mean, you've got to make that decision and choice to want out, and then reach out to those people that can help you, that can guide you. But you're not going to get a random email or random knock on the door of, hey, let me get you out of this life. And you got to make that decision first, and then go out there and find them and find a way. And I've got so many friends that say, oh, just like you said, I don't have any money, this and that. I didn't have any money starting either. So I've got other buddies that are saying, hey, what can I do to be a fly on the wall? Can I go take pictures for you? Can I go pick up materials for you? And can you put me on the email so I can learn how you talk to lawyers or realtors or whoever?
Yeah.
Sure, why not? I mean, make yourself valuable,
What
So
you're talking about is being problem focused versus solution focused. And the first person you talked about is problem focused. Well, I don't have any money. That's problem focused. That's a problem. What about a solution? The solution would be, how do I get enough money to get into real estate? Or how do I get enough money to invest? Or how do I get enough knowledge to where I'm not terrified? That's solution thinking. Problem thinking is, I don't have this, so it's not possible. And it's very closed off.
yeah, it's just how bad you want it, really. I mean, you're gonna find a way one way or another.
Well, thanks, Joao. I appreciate you being here and giving your advice and your really your life story on how you've gotten to where you are now. And I wish you all the luck and all the success. We're all rooting for you, and we're here for you too. In that case, everybody, if you want to reach out to Joao, all you have to do is click his bio. His links are all in the description. We love sending traffic and people over to our guests, because that's what this is all about. This is all about sharing information about things that we've lived and things that we've learned. Joao had some really great comments, really great inspirational quotes in there as well. And so if you want to learn more, talk to him, go ahead, reach out to him, direct message him. Also, like we said earlier, the first 5 people either direct message him or my team will get you a book. Joao's going to give you a Rich Dad, Poor Dad book, and we're going to give you one of ours that you can use however you want. You can give it to somebody, read it, put it to use. But if you don't take action, nothing's going to happen. I can tell you that. You have to take action. By the way, it's interesting, Joao, you mentioned no one's coming to save you. That is literally a title of the chapter in the book. No one is coming to save you. You have to save yourself.
Exactly.
So thank you everyone for tuning into this episode of Fix Your BS. I hope you've gained some valuable insights and inspiration to challenge your own belief systems. If you're ready to take the next step and join the Fix Your BS community dedicated to your personal transformation, check out my coaching group by clicking the link in the description, where we will work together to build your dream life. Remember, the only thing standing between you and your goals are your beliefs and your actions. So let's fix them. Until next time, keep believing in yourself. And as always, I'm here to help you fix your BS.